Thank you for watching our video. This show is sponsored by DreamStream. DreamStream is a unique platform where creators can monetize their video content. All creators rely on support from people like you. Join us on the DreamStream platform to support your favorite creator and view the episode without any adverts. Follow the link in the description for a how-to guide. DreamStream, a place where you can create yourself.
Living as a queer person, or let me say lesbian, gay, bisexual, or even transgender, or even intersex for that matter, is life-threatening to some people, particularly in different spaces of society. Others could say in urban areas, others could say right deep in the rural areas. But truly speaking, it can be at any part of the country. And discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, and even sex characteristics can have a devastating effect on both physical, mental, but also emotional well-being. I should add that as well, for those that are actually forced to enjoy it. So discrimination and violence against queer people can come in really many forms. It's not only in one form. So from things like name calling, from bullying, harassment and gender-based violence, to being denied a job or even inappropriate health care. These are some of the challenges that people that are queer deal with on a daily basis in different spaces. So everyone should be free to live a free, safe and dignified life. That is a human's right. Have a family and even make contribution to society without feeling any kind of limitation. Equality and freedom of any form of discrimination are fundamental human rights, and that belongs to all people, regardless really of their sexual orientation, gender identity, and of course even if they are intersex. So today we will be learning about an organization that continuously strives to expand the resources to defend and advance the equality, freedom, and social economic inclusion, and also well-being of queer people. A warm welcome to another episode of the Real Queer Talk with your host, Tolo Mutaung. And I am joined by Obakeng Polo.
Yes.
Pronounced right?
Pronounced right.
Perfect. Because there's Polo with a double O and now it's one O. I'm thinking, is it Polo or Polo?
Polo.
Polo.
It's same as Tolo.
Yeah.
Yes, with the P.
Perfect.
Yes.
And welcome, Obakeng, and thanks for making time to join us. Perhaps to share with the viewers who Obakeng is. Obakeng was the syndication manager at the South African an online media agency, and also the editor of, in fact, the editor-in-chief of the Opera News in South Africa. And prior to that, he worked at Procter & Gamble as a media practitioner, where he was an active member of its Gamble LGBTQI affinity group. So he has a diploma in media practices, specializing in marketing, and is qualified as a media manager. So Obakeng has a particular passion for media digitization and tech-driven media solutions. English nearly ran with me right there. Okay. So Obakeng is currently a business and media officer at the Other Foundation. So he's joining us today to talk about the role of the organization in advancing human rights issues and the work that they are doing and the value they are adding in community spaces where we found LGBTQI people are. So Obakeng, perhaps to kickstart our discussions, I always want to get the pronouns right.
Yes.
Yeah.
My pronouns are him and he, so
Okay.
you can go with those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank
you. So the Other Foundation is one of the organizations that are doing such a great job. But before we get into that, just give us a perspective of who is Obakeng Polo and what is your role at the Other Foundation.
I think you've done such a great job of introducing me. Now I feel kind of overwhelmed by the fact that you went into my history that I have forgotten. But Currently, Obake Polo is the Media and Business Officer of the Other Foundation. I've worked mainly in spaces where I wanted to amplify the voices and visibility of LGBTI people.
Yeah.
So that's what the Other Foundation has been doing for years. And I walked into this role that I have now as the business and media officer to do just that, to continue the work of the Other Foundation and to continue my passion, which was the LGBTI community and ensuring that we advance equality and the freedoms of the LGBTI community.
So, if you were to share with us what is the Other Foundation about, perhaps an overview to for somebody that maybe they're not aware that it is in existence, for them to understand what it is about.
Well, as well, you've done a great job of introducing it, and thank you for that. But what I can add to what you've already said is that the Other Foundation is an African trust. So we work to advance the freedom and equality of the LGBTI community in Southern Africa. So we work in 13 different Southern African countries. Countries such as Zimbabwe, Botswana, Malawi, Mauritius, and many other Southern African countries. We also work as a grant maker and a donor. So that means that we work, we get money from those that have, and we give to those who need. So we work in that particular form in advancing the work, or we support the work of LGBTI activists, individuals and organizations in the region to ensure that the work that they're doing continues to receive support.
It's important work that you're doing. I cannot even begin to really explain how important this is. Particularly in the South African region, given the challenges that we have. But also I can imagine that it comes with a huge responsibility because those kind of services are so needed. You know, and as a team, in your experience, South Africa versus other Southern African countries in the region, how, is it better? Is it challenging? Where?
Yes.
How you know, just a general overview.
Well, South Africa has had the privileges of doing decriminalizing same-sex marriage even before other countries did. I think one thing that I should emphasize is that as much as we have done a great job in writing up a very good constitution, it doesn't always translate into the ground. You mentioned rural areas. We saw, I think, between 2020 and 2021, a huge rise in the killings of the LGBTI community. So we know that as much as we want to say, oh, we have done an amazing job, in the constitution we have done an amazing job, and we continuously work to do that as South Africa. I wouldn't put us as a flag for what is right and what is a perfect society. The other countries are still striving to do the same. Botswana has done the same, and other countries. But we want to see what is written translated into the ground and actually people being protected from such discrimination, the killings that are happening. So we want to ensure that that continues to happen.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And I love the fact that, you know, you mentioned that when it translates to the actual application of it, it's a challenge.
Yes.
Because this is what people are actually experiencing. I had a friend who was explaining to me that they're a lesbian couple and they were having a baby. Now, when they went to Home Affairs to register the baby, they were told that because there's no father, the baby can be registered in one of them's name. So they can't be registered
In
for,
both.
in both.
Mothers,
Which
yes.
shocked me, and I thought, we still have to deal with such, you know.
Exactly. And that's where human rights activists or human rights defenders come in. Right now, there is the marriage bill that is being talked about by our government and parliament. It proposes really wonderful ideas, but we know that there is always a a flaw into the ideas, because often the people that are supposed to be commenting and really engaging with those are left behind. And one of the things that we want to do is ensure that we give resources to the people that need those resources to enable them to interact with those bills, to interact with those discussions, because it will be happening in Gauteng, and only a few people will know that there is a bill out there that needs comment, that needs this. But expanding that, ensuring that we are talking about it in the media, we're talking about it in such platforms, that people know that there is, so that they can add their comments and ensure that voices are heard. And I think the work of the media, the work of business, the work of activists is to ensure that everyone is not left behind. We are always having a conversation as a collective, so that we can, this type of issues can be noted way before somebody says, oh, we didn't include me in a bill like this.
Yes. And why did you decide to be part of the other foundation?
I actually, it's a funny story, because I don't think I did. I think it was one of those wonderful happenings that happen in life. I was working in corporate, and then I moved into digital media, where I was on my own trying to figure out how do we amplify the voices of the LGBTI community, not knowing there's an organization doing the same thing. So joining the other foundation feels like more of a collaboration between somebody who had big ideas and people who those ideas they can amplify, those ideas they can take on. So while I was doing that, I came across the other foundation, knocked at that door, and somehow I landed myself here. And it's been an amazing experience. I think getting to meet people in the region, activists in the region who are doing the work, even in the most difficult circumstances, in where you think that I'm privileged to have the other foundation back me up. There's people who don't have those privileges, who are working in Lesotho, who are working in different countries that have no support. What I was trying to do, somebody said, we see what you're trying to do and we would love for you to come here. And we collaborated and we worked together. I work for them, but it feels for me like a collaboration. So yes.
Sure. And I see the passion as you speak, that it's really something that you're passionate about. And I appreciate such, because we need people like yourselves that are there to understand why they are there, because that's when then you're able to give the best and really drive change, which is what we need. You know, particularly in such regions. I mean, not long ago, I heard a story of a queer person who wanted to leave Zambia, actually, to come to South Africa because they were starting not to feel safe. Because we know with the laws and how things can turn around, and we're actually fearing for their lives, that anything can happen to them, you know. And it's really great that the other foundation is supporting, you know, those that are trying to bring change. And your mission as the other foundation is to really advance human rights in the South African region, as you have said, particularly for queer people. So what are some of the major challenges that, you know, particularly in the community, that you find that in different spaces they continue to face, despite, you know, the work that is being done to try to push for human rights to be acknowledged, and for them to feel that they are in a space that is safe and that they can be included in different activities.
So what I think for the past years there's been a lot of, especially towards decriminalization of same-sex marriage, a lot of work that has gone into that, a lot of work that has gone into the trans movement in terms of gender-affirming healthcare. There's been a lot of work in terms of different spaces, but what we have seen in the past, I think 3 to 5 years, is that there's been a huge backlash. There's been a huge rollback in terms of the work that has been done. Countries that we thought were gonna decriminalize same-sex marriage, countries that we thought were going to be more accepting have now groups, some religious groups have come out and said, this is not African, this is not part of our religion, this is not part of our culture. And that there has been a huge pushback. And I think with the great, I am an advocate for digital media, but with the great platform that is digital media, we see that a lot of people are starting to use it to perpetuate this negativity around the LGBTI community. We have seen things go viral in terms of when Woolworths had a campaign, there was a huge backlash against that in a country where we thought human rights are big.
That blew my mind. It threw me off. I didn't expect it.
Exactly.
And it was so disappointing for me to say, but really?
In Botswana, we have seen religious groups.
Need a photo studio? The Dreamstream Photo Studio includes a 2.7-meter PVC backdrop in black and white and is available for only 115 rands per hour. You can also rent a Canon R6 and lights. All rentals are for studio use only. Terms and conditions apply. Contact studio at dreamstream.co.za.
Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Son of Augustine. Let's go.
Coming out and saying that we don't want LGBTI people are not, sorry about that, are not African, they are not part of our religions, and we're seeing that in different countries. So as much work as activists have put into this work, but there has been a huge pushback, and I think with that pushback, that means that organizations such as the Other Foundation need to do more work, need to support more activists, need to ensure that they are now more emboldened to do the work that is necessary. So yes, we have done work, but there has been quite a huge pushback.
Yeah, sure. It sounds like there's still a lot to be done, right? But in the midst of all those challenges, what are some of the milestones that you have been able to say, you know what, here we've reached a milestone, here we've been able to, achieve something, and there's more to come beyond?
I smile because I think of all the work that when I joined the Other Foundation, there has been such amazing work that has been done by the Other Foundation and activist groups. So in different countries, the Other Foundation works through supporting activists' work. So that means that in different countries where there is work that has been done, we will identify it, or they will identify the need for us to come help. In Botswana, in different countries, a lot of work towards decriminalization. We have supported the work that activists have been doing through supporting different activist organizations. So anchor organizations such as La Habibo in Botswana, we will support the work that they are doing to ensure that when they're talking about court cases, there is support for those court cases around what they're doing. In Zimbabwe, in Lesotho, those litigations that have been happening, research work that needs to happen in terms of changing mindsets, amplifying the voices and visibility of queer people in the media, in mass media, that continues to do. So there has been a lot of work that the Other Foundation has done, and research as well. There has been a lot of research work that has been done, working with religious bodies. There has been a lot of work, and we work through convenings, meaning that we get people together to formulate strategies and how we can continue to advance this work. So a lot of convenings, that a lot of strategies have come out of. Our flagship convening is the Kopano, where we're bringing together activists from across the region to talk about the issues that are happening. So that means that after the Kopano, we have a strategy from actual activists on the ground in Lesotho, in Botswana, that what they need, what do we need to do to continue to support you. We go to people who, our donors who want to support that work, and say, this is what the activists are saying, this is what the people on the ground are saying. How do we get funding? How do we ensure that we have resources to support this work? So a lot of work has been done,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Now I'm coming in and introducing more, well, not introducing because the work was already been done, working with businesses.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of corporates saying that we are for the LGBTI community. How do we support? How do we invest in this? And supporting small LGBTI businesses to ensure that they can also work in the real world,
Yeah.
ensuring that they are compliant, ensuring that they have enough investment, and they have enough customers. That's the work that we're trying to do to push for economic inclusion and social inclusion of the LGBTI community.
So it's not all doom and gloom at the end.
It's not. It's not. It's amazing work. It. If you were to spend a day with the other foundation, you'll go through our religious program, which talks to parents and families of LGBTI community, how to support LGBTI children, persons in families.
Yeah.
So, and you'll go through the media and business portfolio that talks to amplifying voices. We're talking to mass media organizations. We're talking to corporates who are interested in the work of the LGBTI community. We have research, our research portfolio, which looks at attitudes of ordinary citizens and the attitudes of the LGBTI community, on how we can continue to change those attitudes. How do we ensure that when you meet an LGBTI person, you are not surprised, you know how to actually accept and be well informed enough to know what an intersex person is, what a trans person is. We're working in different advocacy as well. There's advocacy work that is happening to ensure that decriminalization work continues to happen. There is so many of the work that we as a team do out there in different fields that we are passionate about.
Yeah.
So it's the other foundation is a community foundation, and sometimes I want to say, please come visit us and see what actually we do on a daily basis. It's amazing work.
Yeah, and I think also what I've noticed from your website is that in your team you have specialists, so you have people that are experienced and have the know-how of what they are doing. Could that be a recipe for success that you are able to achieve so much?
Yes, and one of the things is that the wonderful minds of the other foundation's leadership is that they have gone across the region to look for talent. So it's not just South African talent, it's people from Botswana who came with expertise in different fields, who have taken on governments, who have done amazing work, activist work, from Lesotho, from South Africa. So we have different ranging voices from different communities, and sometimes I think that we often find that gay men will be the center and end all and be all of the LGBTI community, but we have a difference between not just the LGBTI community, but we also have other communities that are part of the other foundation who are bringing in different voices, because one of the things that you want to do is constantly be challenged in your thinking and your approach to doing things, and we have a team that is diverse in the best of ways.
And that is what diversity is about, really. So let's talk about the grant making process. What does it look like?
So our grant making process looks, so we have our strategic grants, meaning that the other foundation has a strategy. So they will ensure that to meet that strategy, we, our trustees, what I said, we have our Kopano. So our Kopano will kind of lay out what we think is the best, or what the activists say is the best thing to do for our community, and that will be put into a strategy. So once that has been put into a strategy, funding will come in, and then people will bring in proposals. Once they bring in proposals, the trustees, the team will look at those proposals and say, does this still meet the needs of our community? Is this aligned to the strategy that we agreed with activists in our community that needs to happen? And then that will be, we will select those grants based on that idea. That is one. And then we have our peer review session, which is an open call where people will bring in their proposals, but we will bring in different activists from different organizations from different countries who will come together and say, we will look at proposals and ideas from across the region and see what is the best need for this proposal. If you've submitted a proposal, is it advancing the human is it advancing human rights? Is it advancing equality of the LGBTI community based on their own experiences of where they come from?
Yeah.
So if I'm from Lesotho and a proposal is coming in and doesn't really speak to the experiences of people in Lesotho and across the region, why should we do it? So that's the peer review session. Anybody can be part of the peer review session. If you are an activist, part of who wants to advance the equality and freedoms of the LGBTI community, you can apply to be a peer reviewer, which happens once a year. It's going to be happening in October, where we're going to bring peer reviewers together, and they're going to go through proposals from across the region and look at what is the best places that we should be supporting and putting in resources. And we also have grants that are for emergencies, so we also support in terms of if there's a death, if somebody needs to come. You talked about somebody coming from Zambia who needed to come here. In terms of those type of emergencies, the other foundation also sometimes is able to come in and say, how do we best serve the community in terms of helping in those situations? And we have a range of grant making avenues as well, but those are one of some of the main ways that we support the work that is happening in the ground.
Sure, it's amazing stuff. I'm just out of words right now, because there is such a need, you know, of what you're saying. Because as you're explaining now, especially with the emergency grant, there's a gentleman, they're a gay couple actually. So there's a person from Uganda who inboxed them to say, my life is in danger, can you help? And they wanted to help, but they did not know what to do, how to start, well, you know. And now you can imagine what it does to them psychologically. Now there's somebody who needs help, and because I can't help, they might end up dead.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So it's really great to hear that we've got organizations like the other foundation that can step in and assist where it's necessary.
Yes, and they will put you in touch with the right organizations as well. As much as the other foundation does that, we also work with organizations that ensure that work with refugees, that we will ensure that we don't just get you into South Africa, but how do we also ensure that you are safe in South Africa? How do we get you to, because we work through supporting the work of others. So we'll ensure that you get to a refugee organization that can help you in terms of that, so that we don't just give you transport to get to South Africa and then what happens to you. So we want to ensure that the process, you are safe, you are looked after, and then you continue to do what is necessary.
So in terms of accessing the other foundation, how does one access it? And in terms of the grants, what is who qualifies basically? You know, is it individuals? Is it organizations only? You know,
Yes. So how to access the other foundation? We have our Facebook page. You can find, just type in the other foundation. You'll find it. It's black and white. When you see an organization that is black and white, most likely it's the other foundation. You can find us on our website. The other foundation, just type in theotherfoundation.org on Google, and then it will appear. And then you can also reach out to us. We have our admin email address where you can send us. It's admin@theotherfoundation.org. You can reach us there, and also on our website we have everybody's email address, so you can also send us an email. Like I said, we are a community foundation, so if you have access, you can have access to our offices. You can
quite
just
efficient though, because it didn't take time for you to respond to us. It was quite quick.
Yes. I think we pride ourselves in ensuring that we are all, when we say we are a community foundation, we serve the community.
You live there.
Yes. And in terms of who qualifies for grants, if you are working towards advancing the equality and freedoms of the LGBTI community, you qualify to put in a grant application to us. So we will look at the work that you do. We are serving the LGBTI community, so that is our primary goal.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants to serve the LGBTI community, we are happy to support the work that they do.
Yeah. And organizations, individuals, what is it
Yes.
that they can learn about the other foundation in terms of the work that they do and how to, you know?
Yes. So you earlier you asked if it's organization and individuals.
Yeah.
So we do support both organizations and individuals who want to advance the equality and freedoms of the LGBTI community.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think we can learn from the other foundation that I've learned personally, and I think let me not say everybody should be learning, but
Yeah.
I think what I've learned is that there is always a way to do things. You just have to find the right people to support you in doing the work. And I think what what I mean by that is that when I got to the other foundation, I was going around thinking that, oh, I can do this. But I've seen that through the support of others, through working as a community, we get to learn from each other and we get to advance more. I think we can amplify, we can do more work together as a team,
Yeah.
as a community, rather than as individuals. And finding the right people, finding the right support system is always important. Whether it's you are an LGBTI person in a family, getting that support, whether you're trying to advance the equality and freedoms of others, get a network of support of people who will be helping you. And if you are alone, I'm sure you find something.
Yeah.
Facebook, go onto Facebook, try to find people who are trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do, because you're never alone. There is always a community, and I found that when I joined the other foundation. I found a community of my people, and I've never looked back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing stuff. Effecting sustained change to queer rights and inclusion requires addressing the forces that actually shape individuals' attitudes and also community norms and practices, traditions and cultures, government, policies, laws, institutions, and also civil society organizations. So the media and the family is another aspect of it. So as well as underlying economic, political, and also social pressures. It is through the work of organizations such as the Other Foundation and other non-profit organizations that we can see change that leads us to a more affirming South Africa. And we can only, be grateful to be having organizations such as yourselves that are really ensuring that you are there to support people that does the work on the ground, and also give them the kind of space that will be necessary for them to be able, to operate much easier with the kind of resources that will be required for them to do that. And I wish to thank you so much for coming and sharing this important information with us. It's been really informative, and I believe that now a lot of us, as we watch, will be able to have a much better direction in terms of where we can get assistance when it's necessary, particularly for those organizations that are working out there and they need assistance. You probably have knocked on few doors and you do not find the kind of assistance you need. So check the Other Foundation. It might be the organizations that you're looking for. So as we wrap up, as per usual, we're looking at the myth and effect. So the myth is LGBTQI plus people are requesting special rights. Some say at the expense of everyone else's rights. Is it true? No, it's a myth. There are no special rights being claimed by or for queer people. They are entitled to enjoy the same human rights and fundamental freedom to which every human being is entitled to, really. So regretfully, these rights and freedoms are denied to millions of queer people. This is why there is a need for a specific focus on ending discrimination and also ensuring inclusion of all queer people anywhere in any space in the country. So that's how we're wrapping up today's episode. Till next time, do stay in touch. Let's have a conversation. Tweet and tag me. I am Tolo_Mutaung on Twitter, and on my profile you'll find my email address if you want to stay in touch. Until the next episode, stay well.